Spain looks like paradise. Top-ranked healthcare, low cost of living, walkable cities, and the best quality of life in the world. But what most Americans don't realize is how fast that dream can unravel, thanks to 47% taxes, glacial bureaucracy, and rising attacks on tourists and expats. If you're even thinking about retiring or moving abroad, this video could save you tens of thousands of dollars and years of regret. Based on my own experience, I'll show you the truth about moving to Spain, the pros and cons, starting with backlash against foreigners and what that means for you. You may have seen the protests, signs in the streets, viral clips of angry locals shouting, "Tourists, go home." And maybe you've wondered, will I even be welcome in Spain? Here's the truth. The headlines are wrong about Spain's supposed anti-expat backlash and what's actually happening on the ground. The frustration isn't about you, it's about policy failure. Locals are angry at mass tourism, not retirees who respect the culture, contribute to the economy, and become part of the community. Spain is one of the most immigrant-friendly countries in Europe. The non-lucrative visa, the digital nomad visa, the Beckham tax law, all of these exist because Spain wants, and frankly needs, you here. But they also want you to integrate, to learn a little Spanish, to shop local, to treat Spain like a home, not a playground. And when you do, you'll find community fast. Spanish culture is incredibly social, warm, and deeply generous once you make an effort. So yes, there's some online noise and fake social media hatred. These are purely headlines. On the ground, there's little to no hostility whatsoever. If you've ever felt unsure about living in Spain, let me know in the comments. We're open to hearing and sharing your story here as well. Now let's talk about a positive, one of the most life-changing reasons Americans retire here: Spain's healthcare system. Now, Spain's healthcare doesn't make the travel brochures, but once you live here, it could become your favorite part of the country. James Blick, a New Zealander who's lived in Madrid for 14 years, put it best after his first colonoscopy. Not exactly glamorous, but the doctor complimented my colon, and I paid next to nothing. That's the reality here. The system is world-class, ranked among the top 10 globally, and far cheaper than what you're used to in the US. But it is complex. Public and private options run in parallel. Many expats use both. And most importantly, you need to understand how they work before you need them. Private care is often required for your visa, whether you're on the digital nomad visa or the non-lucrative retirement visa. It's fast, polished, and surprisingly affordable, as little as $100 a month for full coverage. Public care, on the other hand, is robust, reliable, and entirely state-funded, but with longer wait times and more red tape because of it. Here's where it gets tricky, though. If you have pre-existing conditions, they're not covered under private plans, but fully covered under the public system once you qualify. And yes, you can qualify through work, a year of residency, or programs like the Convenio Especial. Bottom line, healthcare in Spain is a gift if you know how to unwrap it. You don't need to be an expert, but a basic grasp of the system will save you massive stress ahead. The Freedom Files can save you time, money, and a pile of paperwork by helping you choose the right insurance policy for your situation. Now, speaking of paperwork, let's talk about another con of life here in Spain. It's world-famous bureaucracy. Let's just say this. If patience isn't your virtue, Spain will teach you. Bureaucracy here moves like a sunburned snail through molasses. I learned that phrase from a client from South Carolina, and I can't stop using it. Appointments take weeks. Forms need copies of copies of copies. And if you show up to a government office with one paper missing, back to the end of the line. I once waited 3 weeks for an appointment in Madrid just to get another appointment. No joke. The man handed me a new number and smiled and said, "Vuelve en septiembre." It's not personal. It's not even malicious. It's just how the system works. And while there are digital nomad visas, residency permits, and clever tax strategies, navigating them without help is just upside down. So what do? First, assume everything will take twice as long as you expect. Second, get help. Spain's red tape can be a test, but if you treat it like a game instead of a battle, you'll win faster. But what's the purpose? What's the ultimate goal? Why do people endure the red tape in the first place? Well, because the reward is pretty incredible. If you've ever paid $4,000 a month to live in a box in LA, or $20 for a sad little grocery store salad in New York, Spain will feel romantic. Here's what $2,000 a month can get you. A 2-bedroom apartment in a walkable mid-sized city. Sorry, not Madrid or Barcelona anymore, unfortunately. Market fresh produce that tastes like it was grown with love. And nights out that don't require a budget. Dining out is shockingly affordable. A glass of wine, €3. A 3-course menu del día, under $15, and it'll be wonderful. But the magic isn't just in the price. It's in what you get for the price. A slower pace, low crime, the world's best cuisine. You can fight me in the comments if you want. Mediterranean sunshine. A culture that values quality of life over constant hustle. Yes, costs are rising in the popular areas and it's not a dirt cheap destination like it once was. But compared to the US, you'll likely get more bang for your buck and stress less. Next up, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Spain's famously steep income taxes and why they might not hit you as hard as you think. But before that, quick pause here. If this sounds like the life you've been dreaming of, drop a little sun emoji in the comments so I know who's in. If you're not sold yet, keep watching. Let's talk taxes. Spain's are, in a word, intense. You may have heard personal income taxes go as high as 47%. And yes, that's true. Add in wealth tax, inheritance tax, and layers of regional variation. For example, Valencia has higher and more taxes than Madrid does. And suddenly, the sangria starts to taste a bit sour. But don't panic. The truth is, this is one of the most misunderstood aspects of moving to Spain, especially if you're coming from the US, where tax compliance abroad is already complex because you now have 2 tax residencies. Here's what I tell clients. You're not supposed to figure this out alone. In fact, you can't, because no one person has all the answers. You'll likely need 3 key financial allies to do this right. 1, a US tax preparer, because yes, you still have to file as long as you're a citizen of the United States. 2, a Spanish tax advisor. You can choose whether to be conservative or aggressive. And 3, in more complex cases, a financial planner who understands international setups. I myself have reconsidered moving to certain parts of Spain because of the wild exposure one location would have opened me up to. We've helped others save thousands, countless amounts really, just by speaking to an expert or two before transferring funds. And don't forget, you do have some reprieve. Mostly targeted to those working in Spain, the Beckham Law can cut your tax rate in half for 6 years if you qualify. Spain also has a double tax treaty with the US, so you're not taxed twice in both countries on the same income. But the strategy needs to start before you arrive, and I cannot stress that enough. So yes, Spain's tax system can be really punitive, especially if you go in blind. With the right team, a little planning, and someone to translate both the languages and the numbers, it becomes a little bit more manageable. Dare I even say efficient in Spain? If you're unsure how your financial life would translate overseas, book a Freedom Consult. We can help map out your tax and investment strategy before you make a move that'll cost you thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ask yourself this: why do people put up with any of this in the first place? The bureaucracy, the taxes, the paperwork. It's for something much deeper, and the main reason Spain has attracted more than 40,000 American expats. No matter how many pros and cons we list, one thing keeps pulling people to Spain. Life here just feels damn good. It's hard to explain until you've actually experienced it, but everything slows down. You can eat a whole loaf of bread without feeling bad. You sleep deeper. You walk more because cities are built around humans, not cars. You talk to your neighbors. Is this how life is really supposed to feel? The Mediterranean lifestyle isn't just a tourist slogan. Long lunches, late dinners, social plazas instead of isolated suburbs. People living outside, walking, lingering, connecting. And the food is unmatched. Fresh produce, family-run restaurants, local markets that make your Trader Joe's look like a gas station. I've consistently had the best meals of my life in Marbella and in Madrid. Highly recommend both locations if you're a foodie or wine enthusiast. And you don't need to be rich to enjoy all this. You can live modestly, even frugally, and still tap into a lifestyle that, by many global rankings, is #1 for quality of life. Violent crime is low, housing is affordable in many regions, and expat communities are strong if you so desire to join them. Or you can embed yourself in the Spanish culture if you're willing to learn their ways of life in the Spanish language. You get to choose your version of the good life, is what I'm trying to say. And sure, not everything is perfect. Taxes, bureaucracy, cultural quirks. But I've had countless clients tell me that for the first time in their adult lives, they feel like they're actually living the life they'd always dreamed and intended. If that's the life you want, where your wealth, health, happiness, and freedom finally align, then don't try to figure it out alone. Grab our free 162-page guide on moving abroad. It's helped hundreds of Americans already get started with clarity. Or if you want answers now, book a Freedom Consult with our international relocation experts, and we'll build your plan together. Everything's linked below. And if those Spanish taxes are your biggest blocker, watch this next. The top 5 low tax countries that are actively welcoming American retirees. Yes, including a few in Europe. You'll be surprised.